So you have watched every single video over the internet and you have used every single plugin you possibly have in your arsenal to create that depth in your mixes, but somehow they still do not sound the way you want them. Watch this video and I'll give you 3 simple things that will help you create that depth in your mixes. What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel, and for those of you who are new here, I am Vatsal and I'm an artist, songwriter and music producer. And in this video, I'll tell you 3 ways you can add depth into your mixes. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Number 1 is volume. So think about it, 80% of mixing is just volume balancing, and 90% of people ignore this crucial step. What people generally do is they start with a rough balance and then they move quickly on EQ, compression, saturation, reverbs, and delays. They think mixing is all about EQ, compression, saturation, and effects. But no, primarily mixing is all about volume balancing.
Now let's take an example of 2 sound sources, sound source A and sound source B. Now, when they are both on same volume levels, you will not feel the depth, they will feel one-dimensional. But when A is louder and B is quieter, you will feel the louder one is in the front and the quieter one is in the back, which means more volume is equal to front and less volume is equal to back.
So next time, before using your EQs or compressors, try spending some quality time on volume balancing, also known as static mix, because volume balancing is the most crucial step when mixing, and it will create that illusion of depth. So get it right, and your mixes will love it later. Number 2 is using low pass filter to create depth. Now, once you're happy with your static mix or volume levels, it's finally time to use your EQ, and especially the low pass filter of EQ. And the trick here is, when you want something to sound farther from your listener, you need less high end. And when you want something to sound closer to your listener, you need more high end. Now you can use this principle accordingly in your mixes and you can create that depth. So decide for your mix which elements you want closer or which elements you want in the background of your mix, and cut the high frequencies accordingly from the background instrument. For example, your pads or your atmospheric effects, because you do not need a lot of high end in those instruments. They are meant to be in the background. And again, the trick here is less high end is equals to background and more high end is equals to foreground. And finally, number 3 is reverbs and delays. Now, before jumping into the point, there's another mistake I see a lot of people make, and that is using reverb on every single channel in their mixes. And no, I'm not saying that you cannot do that. If that's the sound you're going for, do it. But the actual problem is when you use reverb on every single channel in your mix then loses its tightness and its punch. So the point is, use reverb for contrast. I use reverb on really selective channels in my mixes. I don't want my reverbs to make my mix sound cloudy or not clear. I want my mixes clear, punchy, and tight. So I use reverbs on the places where I want the elements to sound a little more spacier, if that makes any sense, and to push the elements a little bit more in the background. The main places I use my reverbs are on my background vocals to separate them from my leads, or my ad-libs to make them sound huge but in the background, and on my effects to create that moment in my song, that it moment in my song. I use delays on my individual instruments. For example, my lead vocals, my guitars, my electric guitars, acoustic guitars, pianos, and other elements. Because not only delays are easier to set up, but they do not take away the tightness, the punch, and the clarity of your mix. So as you can see, mixing with depth is not at all complicated if you know what you're doing. So practice these fundamentals and trust your ears. So here are the key points from this video. Number 1, volume. Use volume to create depth. Number 2 is people perceive instruments or sounds closer to them when they have more high end and farther when they have less high end. And number 3 is use reverb to create contrast. So this was the video, guys. I hope you learned something, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to my channel for more content like this, and I will see you next time. Peace.